Throughout the video, I've tried to stick to facts as much as possible, but I have peppered in a lot of my own opinions and observations. So it needs to be asked, what are my biases? How reliable am I as an educator in the space? Well, pretty much all of my recent content has been crypto related, although this is not technically a strictly crypto channel. Also, the majority of my liquid assets are actually in crypto. So not only is my YouTube presence largely centered on crypto, but a great deal of my actual net worth is in crypto assets. Now, some caveats there. So my YouTube presence at this point is minuscule, so at least in my opinion, this is a bit less of a problem simply because I could pivot to just about any other type of video pretty easily. I mean, admittedly, it would present some issues with the algorithm if it was too different outside like the finance space, but I could do it. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I'm acutely aware that, my own investments are going to be a factor in how I approach the market and what things I choose to talk about. This is why I make an attempt to be as transparent as possible about the relationship between my money and my mouth. It should be noted that Bitcoin and Ethereum are really the only two major projects that have always set new all-time highs after every major downturn since they've gotten into the top 10, which of course for Bitcoin is since the very beginning. The top 10 list has changed constantly throughout the last decade, but Bitcoin has always been number one, and Ethereum, ever since it got into the top 10, has always been number two, except for the 1 year where XRP actually flipped it. That did actually happen. So Ripple's XRP is the only one that's ever taken that number two spot other than Ethereum. Now, the vast majority of the crypto market's gains in the last decade have been actually concentrated in really just these two coins, and despite them being dinosaurs as far as layer ones go, they are the most battle-tested projects in existence. Other coins in my portfolio include major players in the metaverse, Oracle, blockchain interoperability, and smart contract platform spaces, with a preference for highly actively developed layer one projects. By dollar amounts, I do tend to stick to the large caps in the top 20, with the large majority of my money being in the top 10. I am comfortable putting some of my money on riskier plays that show promise from a technological, financing, and/or partnership perspective, but these are always in a minority for me. I consider myself an investor and not a trader so much, and from what I've seen in the crypto market, adoption and active development are indispensable for long-term outlook, and these things tend to be found most reliably in the top 10 coins by market cap. Surprisingly, out of these three elements, tech, financing, and partnerships, it actually seems that current technology is probably the weakest predictor of long-term staying power. This is likely a reflection of how entrenched large players affect the market despite having the oldest tech and on the unhealthy gambling atmosphere that's invaded the crypto market. And let's talk about that for just a little bit. It's something that Folding Ideas brought up multiple times and I think is very important to address. There's no denying that there's a large gambler crowd in the crypto space, and the culture of cryptocurrency encourages this type of thinking unashamedly. More than one of the songs featured in the chapter title screens from The Problem with NFTs features rappers prominently referring to themselves as degens or degenerate gamblers. This is something I find deeply unfortunate. I will say that it is not unique to the space, as certain niches of the stock market with esoteric technicals, the high possibility of catastrophic loss, and the potential for astronomic gains, like for instance biotechnology, also have these features. But it's something I don't like seeing all the same. It makes it harder for someone like me to actually engage with the community because the majority of them really don't think like investors at all. Dan Olson's evaluation of these people is often not far off the mark, unfortunately. And I hope that as the space matures, we see less of this, but I mean, we'll see. The fact remains that just because you can gamble on something doesn't mean that it's only good for gambling. Penny stocks are not the stock market. Moving on, I am admittedly not a computer science or cryptography specialist, and I hold no delusions about being the best person to communicate the detailed technical aspects of cryptography and programming and the algorithms that are used to the masses. Whenever possible, I've tried to use primary and secondary sources with care to capture the spirit of what they convey, and at times lifting their sentences wholesale to make sure sure that I don't misrepresent what I'm citing. This is also why I didn't try to go into painstaking detail about the limitations of cryptographic privacy preservation when we talked about healthcare records or unions. Pretty much everything I know in terms of details comes from a University of Pennsylvania capstone thesis I found approachable, which I will link in the description. Cryptography is not a magic bullet for privacy, and even platforms like Zcash or even Monero are not, at least theoretically, not foolproof. But you'll need someone else to explain the computer science to you if that's really your thing. So where do I think the market is going? All kinds of places. Historically, the prevailing narrative surrounding crypto assets has shifted many times, and as we see in these graphs of Bitcoin and Ethereum narratives over time, as the name suggests, a decentralized currency replacement is how everything got started. Since then, we've seen the rise and fall of multiple narratives regarding use cases, with Bitcoin's store of value / gold 2.0 function and Ethereum's smart contract / dApp functionality taking center stage for the longest period since their inception. These functions seem to be dominating the space right now and don't seem likely to be going away anytime soon. Bitcoin is rather unique in its lack of an identifiable founder to critique and its true decentralization, its philosophical purity and disconnection from that dirty VC money. These attributes are effectively or close to impossible to replicate in the modern market, with Ergo coming as close to any project I've actually seen. The need to scale Bitcoin with pretty much exclusively layer 2 solutions might seem like a disadvantage at first, but the argument can be made that this allows you to avoid that tragedy of the commons problem, wherein every new project built to directly use Ethereum's layer 1 strains the entire system, leading to network-wide knock-on effects if even a single dApp gets overloaded. The maintenance of Bitcoin's original layer 1 structure focuses on security and decentralization, which would then allow these layer 2 solutions to inherit many of these desirable attributes if implemented well. Bitcoin's layer 1 does not feature a Turing-complete smart contract language and likely never will. This is actually seen as a feature and not a bug, because the decreased expressivity of any scripting done on, layer 1 Bitcoin it allows for less considerations when doing things for like security. At this point, the proof of work aspect is really the biggest unknown in the current market. Of the top 10 coins right now, Bitcoin is really the only one that is proof of work that plans to stay that way. The entire market has migrated to proof of stake en masse this cycle, citing scalability and sustainability concerns. Proof of stake does not have nearly the track record of proof of work, and we have yet to see how it holds up, especially in the face of large-scale adoption. There are a variety of trade-offs when it comes to proof of stake, and it'll be up to the market to decide how worthwhile these trade-offs end up being in the long term. Now, if the top 10 are hit by a series of high-profile hacks for whatever reason, we could see a collapse in the liquidity in virtually the entire crypto market, aside from maybe Bitcoin. A scenario that would also potentially lead to another parabolic Bitcoin run, and just as everyone kind of retreats to a proof-of-work chain, a blow-off top for the ages. If something like that doesn't happen, Bitcoin's energy requirements and how its layer 2 solutions affect its utility will come under increasing scrutiny. If we can get past 50% renewables used for proof-of-work mining in the next few years, then the road to carbon neutrality should be pretty clear given the extremely favorable trends in renewable energy prices. My investments in Cadena and Ergo are explicitly for hedging against proof of stake. The specter of stablecoin collateralization fraud continues to loom large, and how that plays out, whether regulation comes before or after the collapse of the stablecoin market, is going to potentially be a deciding factor in how crypto assets are viewed in the near to midterm future. This, in my eyes, is one of the more likely causes of the next potential crypto winter, with the others being, the global debt bubble bursting, or the start of a large-scale war between the United States and even one other major world power. Obviously, I'm thinking of Ukraine and Russia right now, but who knows where America's next war will come from. For a more extensive look at the risks in crypto right now, please take a look at my video in the top right if you want to know more. Most importantly, is there a zero scenario somewhere in the future? Could the entire market go to zero at some point? In short, no, probably not. Not in this lifetime. If we continue the cycle of boom and bust that we've seen over the last dozen years plus, we may see another, 80% drop at some point as we enter another crypto winter. Now, this may be avoidable given the veritable ocean of institutional money that's flown into the market recently, but this is by no means guaranteed. There may be winters and times of reckoning in the future. Indeed, I'd count on it until time proves me wrong. However, I don't see an actual zero scenario happening this far into the game. Now then, what lessons do I think we should learn from what's already happened in the world of crypto? One, don't fall in love with your bags. If something goes up, consolidate profits. If a project's fundamentals change, be open to selling. You have to stay true to investing principles, not the projects that you buy. Having conviction is all well and good, but you can't catch a falling knife if adoption and development aren't progressing, or if serious technological holes are exposed. You have to have endpoints of when you sell and buy in, or at least preset times when you'll reevaluate and rebalance your portfolio for very long-term investors like myself. Two, for the love of God, take security seriously. You are the bank, so you need to be as serious as your bank. They have men with guns in armored cars transporting your money. They have multi-signature access vaults and accounts. Now, you can't do all of that, but you can definitely attempt to approximate some of the more important measures that they use. Past a certain amount in assets, you should really seriously consider securing your bags with a cold wallet. And if you're a serious high roller, things like Shamir secrets sharing schemes and multi-sig accounts are good ideas for even more extreme security. Some of those extra measures can actually even help you guard against, those $5 wrench attacks. I am a huge proponent of cold storage. Not only is having air-gapped access to your keys the ultimate security measure, but the added friction forces you to take a bit of extra time to think through your investments each time you do one. You have to actually go and get your physical device and unlock it and hook it up and sign the transfer. For most people with hundreds of dollars in crypto or crypto super users who really lean into DeFi, I think hard wallets are non-negotiable. Once you have six figures in the market, you probably don't want to have more than maybe $150K associated with a single hardware wallet. By the way, I don't typically give financial advice, but that right there is financial advice. Take security seriously. Especially if you're in the crypto world, you have to take security seriously. I'm going to say it again just for emphasis. Take security seriously. It can't be an afterthought. In crypto, nobody is going to take care of that for you.
And there you have it. Lots of misleading, incomplete, and sometimes outright wrong ideas in a 2-hour-plus video that, at the time of recording, is past 6 million views. Now, I don't have nearly as eloquent of an exit speech prepared for this video as Folding Ideas did, because frankly, based on my channel's performance metrics, there's precisely zero chance that anybody has made it this far into the video. I'm just talking to myself in front of a camera right now. I know that. My average watch time is like 12 seconds because of the shorts on the channel, and even before the shorts it was not that great. So, knowing that, let's just, qualify the whole video before I sign off. I am by no means the most well-informed person in the space. I don't doubt that my own perspectives are incomplete and have blind spots, just like in the Folding Ideas video. I may have even made some of the same mistakes that he did. The longer I'm in the space, the more I realize how little I know. I'm always finding new people that have a deeper, more nuanced understanding of the crypto world, and it's always humbling to go from thinking that you know what you're talking about to realizing that you've been a blind idiot, no better than those you've been criticizing. I don't want to give anyone the impression that this video is the final say on anything I talked about, because there's no possible way that it is. The mining and sustainability discussion, for instance, is definitely a topic you could go deeper with, and there's more back and forth to be had. That conversation alone could have had an extra hour in the video. But the final page count is 53, and while that shouldn't have taken so long to write, I kept rewatching Folding Ideas videos, and I started watching H. Bomber Guy videos, and then I started rewatching Sean videos, and then I remembered I was working on my own video, and long story short, this took 3 weeks longer than I had to because I get distracted easily. So, if we can get this to 7 views with even 5 minutes watch time, that would actually be a record for me. So, there you go. Feel free to tell me why I'm evil and stupid in the comments, and after that, don't forget to like the video and then subscribe to me on OnlyFans. I'll see you in the next one.
HFSP, have fun staying poor.